Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Magically Cruising, where we share the latest cruise news, tips, and reviews with you. I'm Kieran from Magical Traveller. I'm an independent travel agent specializing in cruise, Disney, and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow hosts, Sarah and Donna. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I am one half of Cruising for All / Cruising with Kids. We are a cruise website that write about cruise experiences, drinks, packages, and family cruising. And Donna,
That did make me laugh. I'm the other half. Can you imagine us trying to walk on the top deck with our ankles tied together, one leg each? I have the other half of Cruising for All. So, yes. And I've got my own website, goodnightlovedo.com as well. So, which is the travel one as well, I'd craft.
Amazing. So this week we have decided, Donna just come back off a cruise with MSC. So we just thought it was a great chance to kind of just have a chat with Donna and just see kind of how that sailing went, what she loved, what she maybe didn't love, and just get a little bit more information on kind of what she got up to. I'm going to spoiler a little bit and tell everybody, and it's probably the title, so you know anyway, but Donna was on board MSC. So I thought a good place to start first before we jump into your trip is just, I guess, share our individual experience with MSC. Have either of us, obviously Donna has, that's a spoiler, but Sarah, have you ever sailed with MSC?
I have never sailed on MSC. I just don't know. I don't know. I've never booked, and I think because there's so many cruise lines I love, it feels like a risk. But then I know how much Donna loves it, so I keep thinking I will try. So that's my stance on it. It looks good, but maybe I need to try it.
Yep. I have sailed on MSC. I was invited on last summer by MSC to experience it, and overall I had a really lovely time. I can't fault anything other than the food is my big one that I thought was a bit of an issue, but mainly because Phil's gluten-free, and compared to other lines, in my personal opinion, their approach to gluten-free was just difficult. And if you've got to listen to your partner complain for like 7 days at sea about food, you just... It just helps you decide how you're going to sail. But I can't fault MSC. You know, I've had a really lovely time on board. I generally have probably the nicest time in my cabin and just relaxing on board, just because I think there's so much on board to do. I was sailing on Virtuosa, so I don't know if that makes a difference, but I think that's going to jump into what Donna's going to share with us today, because the ship she sailed on was very different from Virtuosa, who is a mammoth ship, and you were on a very small ship with MSC. So yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit more, Donna, I guess, about what the voyage you've just done?
I just sailed on a 10-day on the MSC Lirica, and I have sailed before on the Bellissima and the Grandiosa, and my husband's been on the new one, the World Europa, and we picked this cruise solely because of the itinerary. So we're going to be in Alicante. We had a few days spare, and they added this really, I think, quite a cool itinerary, which sailed out of Alicante. It did Genoa, Barcelona, Malaga, Ceuta, Tangier, Casablanca, not in that particular order. I was trying to remember them all. Really, really cool ports. So some smaller ports that the bigger ships don't go into, like Ceuta and Casablanca. And I was excited about the itinerary. And I do like a smaller ship. This is the smallest ship that I've sailed on. And it is the smallest and the oldest ship from MSC. So it was interesting, and it did have some mixed reviews, and I did join a forum, and it was interesting to hear different people's opinions. So we'll go over some of those now. So what do you want to know?
Well, I guess, Sarah, you are the lady with the facts, but are you able to, because you shared that with me before we started filming, but have you got a couple of top facts about the Lirica and I guess her launch date and things like that?
So it holds 2,548 passengers, and it's got a crew of 752. So she was launched in 2003 and renovated in 2015. So she's, I suppose the third question would be the decor.
So the decor,
would you all agree?
Yeah. So she's very traditional. There's no bling. There's none of these Swarovski staircases or anything like that. She's quite a small ship, so her main atrium is your reception desk with a large, just gold and marble staircase, just 2 levels, no big lifts that come through the middle. And on the second floor, there is the coffee shop. That's your main atrium, but it's very small. We're not talking a great big atrium that goes up and you go in the lift and you can see it all. and it's just gold, brass, and marble, but pretty. And then throughout the ship, you've got the pub, which is more like a lounge, really, not like the traditional pubs that you get now on the bigger ships. It's more like a lounge. Again, they serve all different beers. They've got the same choice. They've got the same menu. The menus are more or less identical throughout the ship. The cocktail menus are identical throughout the ship. Then it's got Beverly Hills bar. Then it's got 2 other bars as well, which one's a piano bar, but then it's quite limited. It's got a splash deck. I don't know if you're looking at it online. I'm sitting in the splash deck now, and it's got a pool, and it's got an outdoor buffet, an indoor buffet. So the decor's just nice carpets and lounge seats. I wouldn't say
And does it?
I don't think it does. For me, it just seems like a nice sort of, it's not ultra modern, but a nice classy ship, if that, you know.
Well, she was renovated in 2015, wasn't she? So I'm guessing a lot of the decor, like the soft furnishings, furniture, things like that, were probably updated to make it feel a bit fresher. Because I know some ships, especially, the carpets look like Magic Eye posters a little bit, because that was the trend back in kind of the late noughties, and some of them have still got those really kind of loud carpets type of thing. So I'm guessing, and MSC are known for kind of having really tasteful decor. It is very blingy, usually, as you say, but they're quite tasteful and kind of making sure that it's not overly offensive to any one particular style.
Quite simple and pared down, really, just very subtle. I mean, I was on the Fantasia last year, and that's sort of like the Manhattan bar is really bright and colourful and really sort of like a bit wacky, but still classy. But no, it's quite pared down, really. One lounge was all red, one lounge was all turquoise seats, one lounge was all pink, the bar was all pink, the small bar. So it was just quite pared down, but just nice and nothing you go, oh wow, but just nice lounges, really. Nice and simple.
I guess 2 questions I've got then, because this is the perception a lot of people have with MSC. Obviously, Virtuosa has been very Britishified, if you want to call it that. But would you find MSC is very welcoming to kind of British sailors, people who maybe aren't as cosmopolitan-minded? Would they get on with MSC's brand of cruising?
Funny you should say that about it being Britishified. I've not really experienced it other than on the last ship. So I haven't been on the Virtuosa. I've been on the Grandiosa and the Bellissima. And the Bellissima I sailed out of Dubai. And I've sailed on a couple of short ones as well. And on the Grandiosa. And when we've been on it before, well, on the Divina as well. And when we've sailed out of them before, they've been very European. Sailed out of English, Italian ports, very European. The kids went into the kids club, and it was very mixed. They learned more language, they said, than they learned at school. So I would say, I think maybe the Virtuosa going out of Southampton would be more of a British inspired, and they certainly have got the pub, things like that, and they do like a little bit of Creed tea, stuff like that. But it's not too much, I don't think, on the other ships sailing out.
Compared to other ships you've sailed on, then would you say she's definitely more European though, or is she kind of on par with some of the more ships like the American brands? Would you say the experience is kind of consistent with other lines?
I sort of feel like all of the MSC ones I've been on be quite European. Lots of Italians, lots of Spanish. But this ship was probably the most British people that I'd seen on board. And that was probably because we were sailing out of Alicante and Malaga.
So was you on a ship once and you shared that they play Andrea Bocelli as you're sailing out of port?
Yes. They play it out of port every time you sail out. And actually, it's funny because I was sitting at the bar with a couple of people we met this time on the Lirica, and I went, oh, this, they always play it. And they went, they do it on here too. And I missed it because it's so bad. We weren't actually on top deck at all, but they do it. They literally, every time it sails out, they play Time to Say Goodbye, which, so I love it. I love it.
So they play what, on, like, in the ship PA or from the hold?
It comes out on the up on deck on the PA system. They play that as you're sailing out. Only
I really like things like that. I think they could have given like a bit of character to the brands. If you feel like this is something you go, you're it's like everyone says the Disney whistle with the Disney ships, Princess as well with the Love Boat theme, things like that. I get a bit of a goosebump chill of like it takes me back to my holiday whenever I hear it. So I love things like that.
Enough to see Angela Bocelli at the Bellissima August, and that was just amazing. So yeah,
I love him.
so to hear that every time you go out port is amazing. And so far, all the ships I've been on it has done that. I mean, if anyone wants to comment, if they've been on it, they don't do it, let us know. But so far, all the ones I've been on, they have done that. But I did miss it.
Yeah, I don't recall her on Virtuosa, but I may have missed it. It may have happened, but definitely don't recall it on Virtuosa anyway.
Can I ask about families? Were there any families on board? Because obviously, I've seen photos, and you've got your backdrop now. If you're watching on video, that you've got a kiddies splash pool behind you.
We travelled outside of the holidays, so there wasn't a lot of families on board. There was no British families on board, maybe because of the time of year. There was quite a few babies on board. I mean, not loads, but there was a few babies on board with people with buggies, and there was a few teenagers. You could see them dotted about the ship, but not very many. The kids club, I did wander past the kids clubs, and they were all freshly done and lovely. The Chico Baby Club was beautiful. That's the one where you go in with the babies. So there was parents in there with their children. I little because I went past them, so I didn't photograph them. But yeah, they've got 3 clubs. They were not open all day. They had a couple of breaks throughout the day where they were like open for 3 hours or 4 hours, and they had evening ones and they had lots of entertainment for the kids as well. Yeah, so that was good. They seemed to be enjoying it. I didn't see anyone complaining. There was a great big ice cream gelato stand as well up on deck 11. You could buy ice creams. It wasn't included in any packages. The gelato looked amazing, and it was about €2 each. The gelato. I didn't see.
Did you go to a baby splash pool?
Yes. So behind me is the splash area, and it's huge. It's really, really big. It's actually bigger than some of the splash pools I've seen in Royal Caribbean. It took up one whole half of the top deck.
So you can go in that with diapers and nappies?
Yes, this one you can. As far I had looked it up, as far as I'm aware, you're allowed to go into that. Obviously, you're not allowed to go into the pool. Obviously, no one in that because the pool was actually 18.
Did I say? We probably should say when were you on board, because we haven't actually said that again.
In January into February. So normally you'd expect it to be in Spain. I would say normally about 18 degrees, and if it's sunny, it's really warm. But it's cold and chilly in the evening. But we was a little bit unlucky because the weather in Spain has been, and in Europe has been a bit dismal. So experiencing temperatures of 12, 13, 3 degrees in Marseille. But brilliant blue skies and no rain. I mean, you can see behind brilliant blue skies, but it's been very chilly. So there was no swimming. There was a sign up every day saying how cold the pool was. And the week before it was 22. So they'd had a bit of a hot over Christmas. It'd been warm, but it dropped right down to 18 when we was on board. So we definitely people in the hot tubs. Hot tubs were warm.
Obviously, definitely. You had to see an empty
Right.
on a cruise
You've got to
ship.
get out, haven't you? After so there were quite a few hot tubs actually. So yeah, there was quite a lot of people in hot tubs.
So that brings me on then to your TikTok. Kieran, can we add links to this?
I don't know is the honest answer. I don't know. If they follow you guys though on TikTok and search for you TikTok, well, what is your TikTok tag?
It's Cruising for All.
If they follow you guys on TikTok, they will find this video that you're about to talk about.
Tell us about your TikTok.
So I was instructed by my wonderful partner Sarah to get loads of videos. I was like, everything was so calm and peaceful on board. It was nothing really like, that's just a video of a bar. So my husband said, right, we're going to walk all the way around. It was a sea day. We're going to walk every single deck. And we started at the bottom. We walked all the way around every single deck just to get our steps up and have a look and see if we'd not missed anything. Got to the top deck. It was a blustery with about 8 or 10 degrees. We'd been sailing on the sea day. We were somewhere near Malaga. I think it was going towards Morocco. Very, very windy. And I thought I'd walk along. We were hit by this wind. I could barely walk. Actually, it was like more like the my mouth going like that. Well, I did post all of it on there because trust me, I look horrendous. To the other end, actually, but the water was coming out of the pool and everything. I've got that videoed as well. But
yeah, I must admit, you look like the tortoise out of Wallace and Gromit. Like, we played it at dinner, and we must have times we were laughing so much.
Yeah, I mean, the things you do, the TikTok, goes, oh God.
So anyway, sorry, digressing. The cabin. Can you tell us a bit about the cabin?
We had a suite, so there's no.
I say you're always fancy when you stay with MSC, aren't you? You're not somebody who stays sweet in standard class with everybody else.
To be fair, MSC was a little bit price-wise. It's a bit cheaper than the likes of Royal Caribbean and that, so it's a little bit more doable as well. But we've only ever done yacht club before on MSC. At this time, there's no yacht club at all on Lirica. So they've got the Bella, and they've got the Fantastic package, and they've got the Aurea package. That's how you say it. So we picked a suite, which actually, as I'm told, is not that much bigger than the extra large balcony. I think there was some below us that were just like an extra large balcony, but you can add the Aurea to it. So then you get your drinks package, and you get your space up on deck where you can sunbathe as well. But it was quite a big cabin. We had like the large bed with a great big walk-in wardrobe. We had a bath actually, and then we had to pull out beds, like sofa beds if you had more people in the room, and a mini bar. And the funniest thing, which was a bit of a running joke, is where was the safe? So we've gone in there, and I was going, "There's no safe. There's no safe." We cupboard. There's no safe. And then for some reason, he pulled the mirror, and where the mirror is, and you've got your little dressing area, opened it up. It's a great big cupboard with a safe behind the mirror, and it's mad. And apparently, everyone on the Facebook forums are like, "Where's the safe?" And the Lirica, where? Yeah, it was really cool. I did a little video of that. It's behind the wall on the mirror. But really nice. I think if anything looks dated, I think the rooms look a little bit dated. Probably just because of the colour. They're like a orangey mustardy colour and the pictures are quite mad, a bit Picasso-y. So they are a little bit dated for MSC. The colour scheme. That was the only thing I would say. Terracottas and stuff like that. But other than that, it was lovely. It was really.
I think, and we can chat about ports in a second, I guess, but I think this is the unique thing. So Lirica is obviously one of the smaller ships now in the MSC fleet, and the perk, I guess, of picking a smaller ship is that you are going to get to go to ports that the large ships just physically can't fit into. Obviously, as well, from an environmental point of view, there's a lot of ports that have kind of refused to take cruise ships now, whereas a lot of these smaller ships now, and this is, again, the beauty of these larger fleets like Royal and MSC and Norwegian, where they've got kind of big new ships that have got all the new features and are huge, but then also they've got some of their smaller ships as well, is they offer these really cool itineraries that are maybe a bit longer. They go to unusual places. They may be open jaw as well. So you're kind of embarking in one port, disembarking in another port. So they're not full round trips. I think they offer kind of, for those people who maybe have sailed a number of times, which obviously you guys have, it gives you a chance to do something maybe a little bit different that you wouldn't get on the kind of bigger ship, round port, Barcelona, 7 nights. She does the same thing for months on end. She's probably going to go off and do lots of different and unique ports. Like some of the ports you've been to on this voyage, I've never even come across myself in all my years of sailing travel.
When we've done some of the bigger ships, we've literally done sometimes the same cruise over and over again because it's been the same ports. So you've got Barcelona, Marseille, the big ports, Civitavecchia, Livorno. But these were smaller ports. We did do Barcelona, but we did Ceuta. And we did Casablanca and Tangier. First time I've ever done Morocco, which I loved. I mean, one of our trips was very interesting. But I did. I really, really loved it. And I think as well, the thing with MSC this time, they got a lot of new people on board. A lot of the English people that we met were first time cruisers. They'd only cruised because they lived in Malaga. They lived in Alicante. So because they lived there, was like, oh, there's a cruise, so we'll try that. So that's why there was a lot more Brits on board. They were sort of like,
right, makes sense. Yeah, so probably expats who are probably living there for the winter months maybe, and they're looking for something different to do. Ah, okay,
Really
cool, yeah.
interesting to see, actually. And the other thing I like as well is with MSC, you can sort of get on and get off whenever you want. So you can get on at any port. You can get on at Malaga, you can get on at Alicante, getting on it every day. So that's
I say that is a unique thing in there about MSC, the fact that you can book part of the journey as well, more so than most lines. Some cruise lines offer this, but MSC are pretty well known for it. You can do obviously the full round trip, or you can do kind of half of a trip as well. And I guess you're going to have different people as well embarking and disembarking at different opportunities as well. So that atmosphere is changing throughout the voyage as well.
The main one for this itinerary was Genoa. Most people were getting on there because it's the Italian. That's their main port. But lots of people getting on at Barcelona and Malaga and Alicante. We got on Alicante.
MSC is a really good line of people who maybe want to try a cruise, because you can do those shorter jaw trips as well. But also maybe people who want to go off and explore more as well. But maybe travel, like as you say, from Barcelona, maybe they want to go to Italy as well. They could use MSC as the method to get there, do a really nice cruise, and then get off and do a land trip as well as that as well. So I think that's the unique thing about the way that they sell their trips, is you've got the option to kind of tailor make your trip a little bit more than just doing, as you say, the 7-night round back to back type of thing.
We loved it for that. That was why we did it. So, and it did disappoint at all. So
which port was your favourite then that you visited?
Favourite. So I think for ease of getting off and just having a little wander was Ceuta, which is Spain, but it's obviously part of Africa and Morocco on the little corner. You can actually see Gibraltar from it. They didn't make that port, I don't think, the last two itineraries, so we were lucky, but the weather's not been so good. So the last two itineraries, it hasn't docked there. People were saying about that. So that is the thing. If it's a smaller port and the weather's not too great, then sometimes you may miss it. But that's the ship safety, isn't it? So unfortunately, that. But I love Ceuta because you can literally get straight off the ship, and within a couple of minutes walk, you were right at the city walls, and they gave you a map and a guide, and you could follow. And I love a statue, and you can follow them. You can follow all the points, walk around, stop and have tapas, go shopping, and be back on the ship and have your lunch. So that was we do like to do it. Get off early, do a bit of exploring. If it's a big port, we'll just choose one thing, and get back on the ship, maybe for lunch or after lunch.
I was just saying, meals are included on the ship. I ain't paying extra for meals when it's back on the ship included.
That was another thing actually as well, is the meals. So it's not your big spangly like some of the bigger ships. The menus are fine. They're very varied. There's lots of choice. Sometimes the meals were better than other times. I did go to the buffet. There was lots of choice in the buffet. I'm not one for buffets, really. I try and avoid it. You'd go once or twice. So we tended to go for lunches in the dining, and they did that every day. And the dinners in the main dining room of an evening, which were really good. We did speak to the maitre d' because one night we had a meal that was a bit cold, and it's probably been sitting there a little bit too long. So we had a few. The staff couldn't have been any better. They were amazing. So after that, the meals were always really hot. And he did sort of try to explain, well, actually, it's a much older ship, so the technologies are not quite as that. It's where they sort of like get sent down. So you had visions of them all running around this place trying to. But I don't think it was quite as bad as that. But no, I was pleasantly surprised. There was also a lot of food on offer at all times of the day. So there. Your buffet was open more or less all day. Like certain times it closes and it resets up, doesn't it, for dinner? But then there was a pizza place. I think it was about 2 in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning. Pizza was amazing. Obviously, it should be. It's Italian.
I say this is what MSC are famous for, their pizza, isn't it?
And it was outside. It was outside on deck 11, so outside the buffet, and they had a great big sails up. So it was a bit nippy out there, I must admit, because of the weather. But there was constantly focaccia, pizzas, pastas constantly coming out. You could get a slice of that. It was really lovely. And on the other side of the ship was burgers, chips, kebabs, all sorts of chicken burgers, all sorts.
So it's not all Mediterranean food then, 'cause that's a big impression a lot of people have, is that it's just nothing but pastas and pizza the entire time. You can get, stuff we would
No,
love.
there was always a speciality pasta in the restaurants at lunch and dinner, and another choice of pasta. At one lunchtime, they had the great big cheese, and that was lovely. There was doing that. So yeah, there was quite a lot of choice. There was always something to eat. There was always something that was different. I had no complaints. It wasn't bland. As I said, some meals were, oh, that was really, really nice. I was like, oh, okay, that was okay. But I wasn't expecting sort of like, for instance, Wonderland food, like a Royal Caribbean. It just good, nice cooked food. And I could soup and a roll. Yeah.
Was there any specialty dining on board then? Because I know there's a lot on Virtuosa, but is there any on board Lirica?
One. It's sashimi, Japanese.
Oh, okay. Is it there? Well, I'm just going to say the other brand then. I know what it's called. They've got the teppanyaki style
Not the
Japanese.
teppanyaki. It's just all the sashimi and the noodles. Very good with stuff like that because I don't normally eat that food. So I did go and try it. It was really lovely, but it's more my husband's cup of tea. So I don't understand all the bits, but it was lovely. It was really, really nice. It was lovely food. And I'll probably put the thing in the comments how much it was. I should put that up first. But that was really nice. The set menu. It was lovely. But we actually, because we're Diamond, you get a free meal, specialty meal on every sailing. So you can pick a restaurant. Obviously, there's only one restaurant on the.
So can we pick up on that, because you were Diamond in Royal Caribbean, weren't you? And MSC status match, don't they?
I believe that has slightly changed now, and the status match now is a little bit lower on MSC. So we've met some people that are Diamond on Royal, and they've ended up one less because it's now Diamond. It used to be the black card, now it's Diamond on it. And I believe they've got the one below that. But I think when we matched, it took us to the top one. We were just under Diamond Plus on Royal Caribbean.
It's like I'm Ruby, I'm Princess, and it's taken me to the one below. Because I did it in case we were going to book a cruise, didn't I? And it's taken me to the one below, so I didn't know.
It changed a little while ago, so it's actually a little bit less. They've made the points a little bit different. Because
I say we've matched. It does vary by program as well, because they've matched our Disney Castaway Club, which was silver, to gold MSC. So it does depend on the cruise, and they seem to value different tiers at different prices now. But it is a great tip, and it's something that I try and point out to customers as well. If they want to try MSC, it's a good one to try, because you also get your voyager's discount as well. So if you're matching into MSC and you're doing your first ever sailing with them, you will instantly save 5% on that first ever voyage. Once you've done your first one, you then get access to the full voyager's discount as well. So again, depending on the tier you're matching into, you could also then save up to 20% off any MSC cruise as well in the future. So it is definitely worth considering if you are a regular sailor and you want to just give it a go and see what it's like. Definitely do the status match, and then definitely have a look out for that voyager's discount as well. It can be really valuable.
I quite like the perks with the Diamond. As I said, to have a choice of a speciality menu on whatever ship you're on. Last time I was on the Fantasia with which was cut. You normally get a set menu. You don't get a whole choice off of the menu, but you still get that included, which is really good. It's nice to try. The other thing that's really funny is because obviously we went suite class, things would be delivered to your room, but I never knew whether it was because we was Diamond or because it was a suite. So I had no idea. So one bottle of champagne turned up. I believe that was because it was a suite. The next day, other bottle turned up. So I think that was because we were Diamonds. And then the next day, macaroons turned up. Then we had chocolates. And the same, obviously, when you're in Yacht Club, because you're Diamond, you get two things. Is that because I'm Yacht Club, or is that because we've done that? So, well, I must admit, we were worried not going Yacht Club, but we weren't disappointed. The only thing I would say is when you do go Yacht Club, you're normally a different restaurant. It's a smaller, more intimate restaurant, a little bit quieter. And I haven't dined in the main dining room for a while, so I really noticed the noise. Not that it was people shouting or kids crying or anything like that. I noticed that level of buzz of people talking to you. So that was the only thing I noticed, because it's the whole width of the ship, isn't it? The restaurant. I did notice that a noise level, that might just be me that's just noticed that. But
So, service, what was the service like? Because the staff ratio is 1 to 4, which is that quite low, Kieran?
That is low. Sorry, yes, it's always weird to remember which we're at, but yeah, it is low.
a lot of people commented on service in the bars, saying that it was quite slow. You'd be waiting 15 minutes for a drink and stuff like that. To be fair, once we'd been in one bar for a while and they got to know us, they tended to come over and go, "Oh, you want the same again," and things like that. So the service was lovely, and they were all really, really nice. I didn't meet anyone that wasn't nice at all. When we went to the Beverly Hills bar, that was probably the longest wait. If you were sitting away from the bar, people waiting for people to come round and take your order. But again, as they get to know you, they go, "Hello, would you like?" Which is a little bit different. We didn't tip, so it wasn't like we tipped them for them to come over to see us. It just the fact that it's like to know our faces. And we often sat at the bar because if you want to get a drink, it's the best place to be. So we got our drinks quicker there. And one guy, he was amazing. He'd worked on a couple of the other ships, and he did a couple of the cocktails, and he took some of the ice out and made it like, because I've done this a little bit different for you. So we went, and then one day he gave me a hot chocolate with Mickey Mouse on top. Was it a Mickey Mouse or Mickey Mouse? What was that? It was so amazing. But no, and then the meals, I didn't have any problems with the meals. We'd save over the first couple of nights. It was a little bit slow. But again, once they knew what wine you liked and that you wanted still water or sparkling water, and that Darren wanted olive oil and I wanted butter, it became a little bit quicker. I think that it's probably the first day you get on the ship. But no, other than maybe a little bit slow for drinks, I didn't have a problem with the service.
What I've been told with MSC is because they're quite an international line, it takes them a bit of a time to kind of get a feel for the demographic on board, because obviously British people drink more than maybe some other demographics would, and the way we drink is different, but also the way we like food as well. Like hot plates is a very American thing. Some Brits like a hot plate, so it's a cultural thing that they kind of have to get a feel for. But I found once the kind of service team know that and know what you like, then as you say, they're really good at adapting and kind of going, okay, that's how you like things, I'll adapt that then when they see you. And
they definitely did that. They definitely took note of what you did the night before and stuff like that. One thing I would note about it, and don't take me gospel for this, but a lot of people commenting that they view the MSC Lirica as a bit of a training ship. There was lots and lots of new staff on board, and it's probably not a training ship, but it probably is somewhere where they maybe start the staff off, and they do get, like, because I know that we was at one of the Beverly Hills bar, he was teaching some of the new people what to do, where to go. Maybe because it is the smallest ship, maybe that's a little thing to do with the staff issues, but I personally didn't have a bad experience, but I do know that is something that people have talked about.
I should say, well, what about, because we moved on from ports, but what about ports that didn't meet your expectations then? Were there any ports that you were a bit like,
Not sure excursions that didn't meet my expectations? Well, I won't. So we were a little bit unsure about doing Casablanca and Tangier, only because we'd read so many other reviews that you get pestered a little bit. Oh, do you want a taxi? Do you want this and buy this? And I'm not worried about that. We've done lots of souks and Medinas all over the world and been to lots of different places. But the more you read about people being worried about it, where I kept saying, oh, perhaps we should do a shore excursion. So we did do a shore excursion in Tangier. And people had said, oh, Tangier is a little bit... But we went to the Tetuan, the shore excursion there, and it was very, you could really see the poverty. I think that's probably the best way to explain it. And we unfortunately went on a day when the drains were blocked. I didn't have the smelly vision, but you do get to see, it might not be everyone's cup of tea. I was pleased to get back on the coach, but you do get to see how people live. I got some amazing photos. It was really, really interesting. However, there was a lady on our coach on the way back that wasn't very well. So we did mention it to the staff when we got on board. So I don't know. And interested. But no, But other than that, when we drove through Tangier, it looked clean, it looked beautiful, and I think next time we would just get off and wander. I didn't feel unsafe doing that, so that was quite good.
Cool. Well, thank you for that, Donna. I think we need to wrap up because we're trying to keep these episodes to around about the 40-ish minute mark maximum. But I think that's a really good overview of kind of MSC in general, but also your kind of trip and your sailing, and why small ship experiences are definitely something that people should consider as well. Where can people find out more about kind of your time on board? Have you got any other content? Obviously, you've got your socials and that, but if people want to find out a little bit more about your time on board, Lirica, where's the best place for them to find that out?
There's quite a lot on our Instagram now, channels for that, but it's all being added as we go along. As we go along, we're adding more and more. We've got quite a lot of port guides on our website as well, and I'm currently writing the Lirica review, so you'll be able to read that in a few days' time.
But all your TikToks are on TikTok, obviously, as well. And there's some funny ones on there as well, and some really great content as well. So definitely, guys, check that out. Search the guys out. So yeah, if you want to see any more as well. So if you want to follow me, I am on pretty much everything: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, anything that I can stick my face on. I'm on it as Magical TRVLR. And then where can the guys find you guys as well if they wanted to search out your content?
So we are under Cruising for All and Cruising with Kids because we're transitioning between the two. And you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook group for families. And the group is moderated by Kieran, Donna and myself. And it's super friendly. So if you are cruising with children, then do pop along.
Thank you for sharing that, Donna. It was really interesting to kind of get your first-hand experience. And guys, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode now. If you do want to give us a topic to talk about, by all means, hunt us down on social media and let us know what you'd like to hear from us in the future. And we'll hopefully see you on the next episode. All the best.
Bye.